Hi guys, this is Breaker, and it looks like I'm back with another replay between what appears to be two Masters League players. I don't know, it looks like, I almost thought that Salvation over here, spawning as our Terran in the lower left-hand corner, of course, I already said his name is Salvation. I dare not say that what I think is an expletive name. And in the upper right-hand corner, spawning as eXeA's best European Zerg, I give you none other than eXeA Hephaistas. Now, one thing, I don't know, there's something I wanted to point out. Oh, that's right, at the loading screen. Basically, for my screen, my monitor, at certain times of day, there's some glare on it, and it kind of makes it a little difficult to distinguish two players that are loading on the map as Diamond or Masters, because the colors are so similar, and I don't think my monitor is quite bright enough for me to distinguish that thoroughly. But talking about this map in terms of ZVT, the natural for Zerg is actually quite easy to defend against Hellion run-bys. Just throw a couple of evolution chambers down right here and a queen spine crawler behind it if you want to be extra defensive. I believe that's all it really takes to hold here, but of course that can also work against you in the mid to late game with choke points and so on and so forth. The third here, of course, if you opt for this one to be your third, is actually quite wide open and susceptible to Hellion run-bys. Of course, the Hellions can just run in here, swing into the mineral line, and then get out this route. Of course, alternatively, if you opt to go for this one for your third as a Zerg, there's a choke point here. Baneling landmines would not be a bad idea. I think burrowed banelings, and of course, I think this one's relatively easier to defend. You just have to have excellent creep spread. Of course, we have the barracks already done, and with the amount of gas that we see harvested, there's more than enough for a Reaper to get put in production. Spawning pool going down right about now for Hephaistas. We don't see gas from him. Did we see a worker scout from him? We did not, actually. So right now, the one thing that's kind of working against Hephaistas is that he doesn't know there's a Reaper. There's actually two Reapers on the way. Gonna wait a minute and see if Salvation's actually going to commit to that decision. I'm not entirely sure how long this replay lasted. That is the beautiful thing about what I'm casting right now. Typically, I'll give you guys a rule of thumb if you guys ever download a replay, but that's going to have to wait until after the Reaper is dealt with here, or at least after we see this harass. We're going to see drones getting pulled away, but I don't think we're going to see this one is in deep water. Hot water, and it did actually get taken out, unfortunately. And the Lings are free to be infinikited as long as they are off creep. Of course, we do have Salvation bringing in a second Reaper, so any queens that get out in the near future are actually going to be easily dispatched of. Or not easily dispatched of, but easily harassed for sure. And, of course, the ledge here just makes it so ideal to use Reapers on this map. The Reaper is just ignoring the queens, going straight for the mineral line. So I want to say Salvation, he's really got his harassment priorities straight. He's not going to drop down there, but of course he still loses one Reaper in the process. I believe he's killed two workers. No, just one. Interesting. Okay, and it looks like this is a kind of 1-1-1 follow-up that we see from... oh, wait, not a 1-1-1 follow-up. This, if I was to look into this and be super analytical, because we just saw the third command center going down shortly after I said a 1-1-1, I'm going to say that this is going to be mech play. Here's why I say this. We see a tech lab being tacked on, and a starport would mean a lot of gas at this stage. We do see that there's a gas going down right now. If we were going to see a 1-1-1, then it would typically follow up immediately after the factory was placed down and after the natural was taken. We did just see, I think, it was either a bunker or a supply depot that got canceled. We do have Hephaistas taking his third behind this. I can really appreciate this, but at the same time, I can't stress enough that he actually needs to find out what Salvation is up to. And it's actually quite risky for what we see here, especially with the amount of Hellions coming out. You know, like, the third is going to be so easily harassed by these Hellions. They could just move in, move out, or they could just move in through this route and then move out this way. But of course, we do have excellent creep spread from Hephaistas. And the Hellions, ooh, tried to get in there. And they won't get into the natural, but they will be checking for a third if Salvation can just use his head a little bit. Come on, what are you doing, bro? Third hatch is right there. All you gotta do is just move up there and look at it. And it looks like I called that wrong earlier, guys. We actually do have a bio follow-up, bio transition. The one thing that actually signaled that is the double engineering bays going down. And of course, obviously now we have the barracks going down as well. I said opting for mech play because basically what we would see is a lot of Hellions and a lot of maybe Widow Mines in production. I haven't seen that kind of a composition just yet. And it looks like these two Widow Mines are actually going to move into quite the aggressive position. There actually won't be any workers moving out over here without being killed in the near future. It looks like this Widow Mine unfortunately targeted down eggs that were in production, and Salvation was not paying attention to those extremely valuable Hellions. He does not have any worker kills just yet, and this Widow Mine actually has not been tripped yet. Of course, now it's a different story, and the Lings are free to go in and kill it. So, this whole time Salvation was buying time. What exactly was he buying time for? Looks like the main focus of Salvation's composition will be, you know, he's going to have the capability to produce 5 Marines at a time, which is presently what we see. And we see a starport. So this is going to be Marine, Marauder, Medevac, possible Widow Mines. Many players are still getting out of that rut of the Wings of Liberty compositions. That being said, basically, oh wow. And Hephaistas is just being absolutely annoying here. If we just look at the supply difference right now, Hephaistas is miles ahead of Salvation. And he's also got a Spire on the way. So right now, I want to say that when that Spire is done, he could be floating as much as 1,300 gas. Just checking the income. So we have to see, basically, you know, Salvation be meticulously careful and read into what's going on in the main of his opponent right now, or at least tech-wise what is happening on the map. Interesting location to put a Spore Crawler. Where is the Spire? Right here. We really, you know, we need to see Salvation willing to sacrifice something to get a scout on his opponent. Right now he's got nothing. He has no vision. He's going to take his third. And I think Hephaistas is reading into this and he's thinking, okay, well, this guy's got a lot of Marines. He doesn't know just how upgraded these Marines are. He doesn't know how much is being committed to them. But of course, right now, all of this is basically screaming to Hephaistas, this guy's going bio. And at about the right time, we have Salvation going for missile turret at the main. 1 at the natural. Excuse me, 1 at the third and 3 at the natural. I can't blame him for this choice because it's so wide open. And right now, I'm just wondering, what on earth is the mistake that we're seeing from Salvation? He's actually so far behind in supply right now. It almost seems like you know, the mistake is, I think, if we just look into this a little bit, is that he's oblivious to what is happening at the third right now. We have a double medevac, excuse me, the fourth right now. He actually doesn't know that there's a fourth right here yet, but he did just make a very convenient medevac drop while he is 100 something supply below his opponent. All the drones will die here except for 1 lucky drone, and the Marines get behind the mineral line. Unfortunately, 1 medevac does kind of load up and it's gonna try and get into the main. So now Salvation is thoroughly aware of just what Hephaistas is up to. Medevac gets taken down with a lot of Marines inside of it, and that's a huge chunk of supply that we will see Salvation not be able to reclaim. He did manage to get 13 worker kills behind that. I'm just trying to sum up everything that happened. You guys don't hear any audio and video synchronization issues. There's nothing wrong with that. And now we have, this is one of those things I don't quite understand. Double spore crawlers going down here. Personally, I like to put one spine crawler over here, one spore crawler right next to it, maybe one spore crawler right here, one spine crawler next to it, and so on and so forth, until I've got an even-ish spread on everything. Double refineries going down at the 3rd for Salvation, but right now we just see that the supply count for Hephaistas has skyrocketed. Altogether he's got 8 mutas. Looks like they have been relatively unused in terms of harass. The one thing that is going to work in favor of Salvation right now, however, is the Widow Mines. And one thing that will not work in favor of him is the Banelings, because if they detonate on top of those Widow Mines, they're basically, you know, they're basically going to be used like Terran Banelings, and the Widow Mines go in here to trip, or excuse me, the Zerglings go in here to trip the Widow Mines for the first time. And this one barely gets a shot off on the mutas. Not going to help against the Banelings. The Banelings are getting ready to roll in here and cause quite the ruckus. The entire mineral line now in danger. The orbital command lifts off, and it actually seems as though Salvation just at the right time pulls SCVs, but you know they're not going to be able to outrun the Lings. And we see Hephaistas suddenly up with about 48 supply, 44 supply, somewhere in between. Hive Tech just finishing. It looks like he's... Did I miss this? He's tacking on another Spire. I'm wondering if that was a mistake, if he forgot he already had a Spire. I know I do this all the time. And that was actually an ineffective use of Banelings by Hephaistas. The Widow Mines now actually not active. These ones burrowing, but they're going to be long outside the shooting range of the Zerglings and Banelings. And it looks like we have the 3rd under attack yet again by Hephaistas. You know, he's pursuing every angle of attack that he can. We have +1 Flyer Carapace on the way, and a Greater Spire as well. So, I guess this is kind of panning out for Hef. There's a full surround here. Widow Mines, it looks like unburrowed for just a brief moment. Ultralisk Tech now on the way. So, this is basically a given from my perspective that we are going to see Corruptor Broodlord Ultralisk. Not the most ineffective composition. Rather a unique idea. And I can't say that I blame Hef for it. It's, it's really something new that I think has been unexplored. And people are still trying to figure out the game, in the words of David Kim. But hey, it's, I certainly think it's actually better than going, for example, I'm trying to think, what was the name of that Korean Zerg who had just transitioned from Brood War into not Heart of the Swarm, but from Brood War into Wings of Liberty, and he ended up going Mass Queen Infester, and it didn't end up working out for him. I think that was at an MLG event. At any rate, if we check the income right now, we have Terran miles ahead, but that's because of mules. There's been a lot of energy stored up, and if we don't see him take a 4th, he's going to be in a lot of hot water. He's gearing up for that 4th right now. He's actually throwing down his 4th command center and getting ready to put it, I want to say at the North Expo, if you will, but there's going to be creep basically hugging the entire map. There is no spot on the map that Salvation can move out on without being seen. There's Ultralisks thrown into the composition. There's lots of Banelings. He really needs something that hard counters all of these Ultras, and I just, I don't know what it is. Maybe Siege Tanks, considering Ultras don't get a buff versus them, but they do instead a flat-out damage rate of 41. Lots of Widow Mines just burrowed. 3 of them get their shots off on Ultras, and it looks like the Ultras are being kited yet again. Epic use of Widow Mines, but I just don't think this is going to end up panning out. It's not going to end up working out for Salvation. Banelings basically rolling into everything, and right now, actually, we see that the supply count is getting much, much more even. 120 to 120. Oh, but the Banelings make their sick connections, and finally, it actually looks like the surviving forces are Terran. But there was a Ling run by here that just massacred everything at the third for Salvation. I'm thinking the one thing that can save him right now would definitely have to be maybe double medevac drops. The most ideal location would be right here. Maybe 2 medevacs here, 1 medevac here, and just I don't know, maybe 1 medevac here-ish. But it would basically, this is the weak spot of Hephaistas. In case you guys haven't noticed already, he doesn't use unit hotkeys. European Zerg GM doesn't use unit hotkeys, and he's GM. I guess that says Zerg is OP. Widowmine's getting cleared away by the Ultras. They're basically taking the brunt of the damage. Not a bad choice. Hephaistas says lol mines. And it looks like Salvation forgot to land his 4th. He's gonna do that really soon though. Creep spread not quite reaching out there, but it should basically be a given that Salvation has his 4th going at this stage in the game. If not, he's just entirely dead altogether. Supply difference is not all that high presently. And now we have Terran. Salvation opting to move out and kill Zerg's 4th. But this engagement, oh my god, this is not going to work out all that well for him. He's going to lose a lot here, I think. Like, look at the Banelings. They're just making sick connections. All of the reinforcements that were pulled are now stuck here. And if these Widow Mines are burrowed in just the right position and attack at just the right angle, ooh. I wanted to say that these SCVs are going to get massacred, and that is exactly the case right now. The main force of Salvation not at home. And just look at the SCV kills right now. 64 over the course of the game. Remaining SCVs are 21 to 54. The question is, how much longer is this game going to, drag on for? Salvation is basically on not borrowed time, but this game is going to be over within a matter of seconds. Just look at the income; it's only 300, as opposed to the I want to say close to 2,000, close to 2,000 for Hephaistas. Hephaistas now double supply of his opponent. And if there's any coming back from this, I just don't know what to say. But here we go. Salvation just basically opting for the all-in. Let's check the army supplies right now. Relatively even, but the problem with this is Hephaistas just basically has Salvation running in all directions, trying to save everything that he's got, and he's got like no income right now, especially on the 3rd. The 3rd was basically the only mineable base he has. These Ultras and Banelings just sitting here, taking their time. And the Ultras are going to try and engage this bio army. It's not going to work out for Hef. No. I think if there's any time for Salvation to push back and do damage, it would definitely be now. Excuse me, I hit the wrong button there. You can see that right here. His army supply is actually greater than that of Hephaistas, so if there's any time to push back, yet again, it is now. But if this all-in were to fail, then it would be game over for Salvation. This is that one window of opportunity he has, and he has to take it. And finally, he's got some income, but there it is. After the natural has fallen, Salvation's just like, great, there's no way I can hold off against this. There's actually a couple of Widow Mines in the main, 3 of them. He was just like, oh, I'm on 0 income. What do I do now? So there it is. If you guys liked what you saw here, just go ahead and click on that red blinking subscribe button. That's doing me a huge favor. Show this channel to all your friends. I'm the Team eXe caster. If you guys are interested in joining, we'll take anybody. We take all leagues from bronze to GM. This has been Breaker. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.